I am 88 years old, living in the same house for 50 years. I have 3 children, 7 grandchildren, and my phone hasn't rung on a birthday in 6 years. But it rang last Tuesday, my son David. He said, "Hey Dad, how you doing?" And I knew before he even took his next breath that he needed something. You want to know how I knew? Because in 14 years, not once has David called me just to hear my voice. Transmission on his truck. I said no. First time in my life I ever said that word to one of my children. He was quiet for about 5 seconds. Then he said, "All right," and hung up. That was 11 weeks ago. Haven't heard from him since. Now here is what you need to understand. I didn't lose my children in some big explosion. No affair, no fight over a will. No Thanksgiving where somebody threw a plate. I lost them, the same way you lose a bar of soap. A little bit at a time. So slow you don't notice until you are standing there with nothing in your hands. But what I finally started to see, at 88, sitting alone in this house on Wilmington Avenue in Dayton, Ohio, is that something went wrong a long time ago, and the thing that cracked it open for me was a $14 prescription bottle I couldn't afford to fill because I just wired my daughter $3,200 for a car repair. She never actually got done. But that is not even what this story is really about. What this is about, I need you to understand who, is something my wife Ruth tried to tell me when she was still alive. And I wouldn't listen. Turns out she was the only one in this family who loved me enough to say the truth out loud. I need you to understand who Ruth and I were. So what happened next makes sense. We bought this house in 1974. A garage that leaned 4 degrees to the left. Ruth used to say it was drunk. That was Ruth. She could make you laugh about a thing that should have made you angry. I worked at the GM plant for 31 years. Ruth taught 4th grade. We were the kind of people who checked the grocery receipt in the car before driving home. 3 kids, David, Karen, Michelle. Michelle was the quiet one, always reading, always watching. Ruth used to say Michelle was born old. I didn't know what she meant by that then. I do now, and we gave them everything. I don't mean rich people everything. I mean I worked overtime every Saturday for 3 years, so David could go to Ohio State. Ruth cashed in her teacher's pension early, took the penalty, so Karen could have a wedding that didn't embarrass her. You give until it hurts, and then you give past the hurt, and you call it love. That is what I believed parents do. Ruth saw it differently, sometimes late at night. After I'd written another check, she'd look at me over her reading glasses and say, "Harold, you are not helping them. You are making it easy for them not to grow up." I didn't listen. I thought, how can a mother say that about her own children? But Ruth wasn't cold. Ruth was clear. There is a difference. And if you take nothing else from this story, remember what she said, because those words are going to come back. Ruth passed on the 7th of March, 2011, pancreatic cancer, 53 days from diagnosis to the end. The last thing she said to me, the very last thing, I remember, because the fluorescent light above her bed was buzzing the way those lights do. She said something I didn't fully understand at the time. Something about holding on too tight. I thought she was confused, medication talking. I held her hand and told her everything was going to be okay, but she wasn't confused. She'd been watching something build for 30 years, and she knew exactly what was coming. What happens to a family after the person who held it together dies? I'll tell you, the shape stays for a while, but the center is gone. After Ruth died, the phone started ringing different. Not right away. The first year, the kids called to check on me. David came by on weekends sometimes. Karen called on Sundays. Michelle sent cards, real cards, with handwriting. That first year I thought, okay, they love me, they're here. But here is what I didn't notice. By the second year, Every conversation had a request stitched into the tail end of it. Hey Dad, how you doing? Listen, I was wondering if, always casual, always at the end, like an afterthought. But it wasn't an afterthought, it was the reason for the call. David needed help with his truck payment. Karen needed me to watch her kids for a weekend that turned into 3 weeks. Michelle needed $800 for a dental bill, and I said yes, every time. If you've ever said yes when you meant no just so someone wouldn't leave, you already know exactly what I am talking about. Because here is what nobody tells you about being old and alone. The phone ringing is the only proof you have that you still exist to someone. When it stops, the silence in this house gets so heavy you can hear the refrigerator humming from the bedroom. So you say yes, because yes keeps the phone ringing. And you tell yourself it is love. You tell yourself they need you, but, there is a difference between being needed and being used. Being needed means someone can't do it without you. Being used means someone won't. I didn't see it, not for years. What I am about to tell you is the part that still keeps me up at night, and it isn't about the money. In 2016, I started keeping a little notebook, brown leather about the size of my hand. Ruth had given it to me years ago. I started writing down every phone call, date, who called, how long it lasted, what they wanted. I wasn't building a case, I was doing it because I was starting to forget things, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't imagining the pattern. 14 months. I filled that notebook for 14 months. You know what I found? 47 calls from my 3 children. Not one of them, not a single one, started with, "How are you, Dad?" and ended without a request. Not one. David called 11 times. Every call had a dollar amount. Karen called 19 times, most about watching the grandkids. Michelle called 17 times. Hers were smaller. Rides to appointments, borrowing the car. But here is the line in that notebook that broke something in me. The 25th of December, 2016, Christmas Day, no calls. The 27th of December, 2016, David called. Needed $2,200 for a furnace repair. 2 days after Christmas. Couldn't call me on the day, but the furnace, that got him to the phone. I sat at this table, this same table I am sitting at right now, and I closed that notebook. I put my hands flat on the wood and I said out loud to nobody, "Ruth, I hear you now. Now stay with me here because what happened next is worse than the notebook." And this is the part I've never said out loud to anyone. Spring of 2018, my doctor put me on a new heart medication. You know what Entresto costs without full coverage? $514 a month. My Medicare covered most of it, but my copay was still $89 every 30 days. When you are on a fixed income of $1,840 a month, and your property tax just went up, and you already gave Karen $3,200 in February, $89 is the difference between your heart working and your heart not working. April 2018, I couldn't fill the prescription. I had $31 in my checking account. $31. I want you to sit with that for a second. I had given my children over $40,000 in the 7 years since Ruth died, and I had 31 left. I skipped my medication for 9 days. On the 9th day, I collapsed in the kitchen, right here, hit my head on the edge of the counter, woke up in Miami Valley Hospital with a concussion and fluid around my heart. My neighbor Elaine Patterson, 74 years old, 2 doors down. She's the one who found me. Not my son, not my daughters, Elaine. A woman I play cards with on Thursdays noticed I was missing. My own children didn't. The hospital called David because he is listed as my emergency contact. He came. Took him 6 hours, but he came. Karen came the next day. Michelle sent flowers. And I am lying there with tubes in my arm, the IV pump clicking every few seconds the way they do. And David pulls his chair closer. I can hear it scrape across the floor, and you know what he says? Dad, while I am here, Karen and I were talking, and we were wondering, Have you thought about what you want to do with the house? The house. I'm lying in a hospital bed because I couldn't afford my heart medication, because I gave his sister $3,200 2 months ago. And he is asking about the house. I looked at him, and I didn't say anything. I just looked at him, and something in my chest, not the heart thing, something deeper, something cracked, like a bone you didn't know you had. He wasn't being cruel. That is what people don't understand. He genuinely did not see me as a person who was suffering. He saw me as a situation to manage, a resource with a shelf life, and I made him that way. Every single yes I ever said, I was teaching him that I didn't have needs. And he believed me so completely that he sat next to my hospital bed and asked about real estate. I got out of the hospital on a Thursday. The next Sunday, Karen called, not to ask how I was feeling, to ask if I could watch the kids, because she and her husband were going to put in bay. And I could feel it, the old pull, the part of me that wanted to say, sure, Karen, I'll manage. But something Ruth said a long time ago was louder now, and that is when I said it. The word that changed everything. No. She paused. What do you mean no? I mean no, Karen. I just got out of the hospital. I can barely walk to the mailbox. Hey, another pause, longer this time then. Well, okay, I guess I'll figure something out. She didn't ask if I was feeling better. She didn't ask if I needed anything. She just adjusted. The way you adjust when a tool doesn't work. You put it down and grab another one. After that I said no to David, no to Michelle. No. The hardest word an old person ever learns. Not because it is complicated. Because when you say it to your own child, it sounds exactly like, I don't love you. And you have to stand there inside that silence and not take it back. And then the phone stopped ringing. David called less, then not at all. Karen would text sometimes. Short things, surface things, happy Easter, hope you are doing well. The kind of messages you send to someone you are trying not to feel guilty about. Michelle went quiet the longest. I spent Thanksgiving 2019 alone. Made a turkey breast from Kroger, the pre-seasoned kind, $7.99. Ate it at this table with the television on in the other room. The sound of a marching band in an empty house is one of the loneliest sounds there is. Christmas alone. Sometime in January I caught myself setting 2 plates for dinner. Stood there looking at the second plate for a long time before I put it back. I wasn't setting it for Ruth. I was setting it for anyone. My 84th birthday, the 15th of March, 2020, the world shut down that same week. But I'll tell you something. The quarantine didn't feel different to me. I'd been quarantined by my own children for 2 years already. There were nights I sat in Ruth's chair, the green one by the window. The one that still smells like her lotion if you press your face into the armrest. And I wondered if I'd made a mistake. Maybe I should have kept saying yes. Maybe being used is better than being alone. And if you've ever lain awake asking yourself that same question, then you already know it is the loneliest question there is. But then I'd think about that hospital bed, David asking about the house, and I'd know I didn't lose anything real when I said no. I lost the performance of family, the appearance of connection. But the connection itself had been gone for years. I just hadn't had the courage to look at the empty place where it used to be. Now here is where it turns. And I need you to hear this part carefully, because it is not the ending you think it is. October 2022. A Saturday. I was sitting on the porch, one of those Ohio afternoons where the sky looks like the inside of a shell, grey and white and kind of glowing. A cardinal landed on the porch railing, sat there for a second, flew off. I remember thinking, even the birds don't stay. Then I heard a car pull up, silver Honda. Didn't recognize it. Nobody got out for a long time, maybe 10 minutes. Then the driver's door opened, and it was Michelle. She walked up the driveway slow, like she wasn't sure she was allowed. 52 years old, and she walked up my driveway. like a child who'd broken something. She sat on the porch step, not the chair next to me, the step, like she was making herself small on purpose, and she didn't say anything for a while. The neighbor's wind chimes were going. A dog was barking somewhere on Smithville Road. Then she said, "I found your notebook, Dad." I felt my stomach drop. "What notebook?" "The brown one. I was here last spring. You were at the doctor, and I was looking for a pen in the kitchen drawer. I read it. I didn't say anything, I couldn't." 47 calls, she said. I saw my name 17 times, and I saw what I asked for every single time. And I saw Christmas Day. The blank line. She wiped her face with the back of her hand. "I sat in my car in your driveway for an hour that day, couldn't come in, went home and didn't sleep for 3 days. Then she said the thing that undid me. Dad, I am not here because I need something. I am here because you need something, and I think what you need is for one of us to just sit here and not ask for anything and just be your kid." I want to tell you I was strong about it. I want to tell you I nodded and said something wise. But I didn't. I put my hand over my face and I cried. At 86 years old, sitting on the